The movie opens up in a church where a young man and an extremely old woman are getting married. By the looks of her physical condition, it is possible that she won't even survive the week. The priest clearly doesn't approve of the marriage, so he taunts the man for going through all this trouble just to get the woman's pension. He also makes comments about the people present in the room who appear to be criminals paid to witness the wedding. Just then, the priest removes his disguise and reveals his real identity. He is Simone, an undercover law enforcement officer. He arrests the groom for trying to commit fraud and takes him away. What if he really loved her, though? The scene then cuts to a museum, where a woman named Claudia threatens to destroy a historical painting if her demands aren't met. She gathers the media and reveals that she is an art restorer. Claudia's business has been on the verge of bankruptcy because the museum owes her more than $100,000. Now she is entirely dependent on her grandmother, Bridget's pension, to support herself. Suddenly, her friends Rosanna and Margie interrupt her press conference and mention that Bridget's health is in critical condition. Therefore, Claudia is forced to abandon her plan and return home. However, on reaching it, she then learns that Bridget was just being dramatic, and she only had some acidity. The old woman says that she is ready to die, but she is worried about Claudia's future. Hearing this, the latter becomes emotional and heads to the kitchen to prepare something to eat. But right then, all the lights in the house go out, and when the power is restored, Claudia learns that Bridget has passed away. She lived for 90 years, through 2 brutal wars, the Great Depression, and several famines. But in the end, a minor power outage killed her. Well, that and being old as fuck. Claudia is devastated that her only family member has passed away, but she is even more worried about the future of her business. Seeing her upset, Rosanna offers her condolences and comes up with a sinister plan. She suggests that they keep Bridget's body in the freezer, so the pension money keeps on coming. They will only have to do this until the museum pays off their remaining money. Claudia is horrified by the advice and says that she can't do that to her dead grandmother. However, Rosanna explains that it's the only solution, and that they can give Bridget a proper burial once they recover the money from the museum. After much deliberation, Claudia reluctantly agrees, and the friends put Bridget's body in the freezer before covering it with steak and pasta. I'm hungry now, and I don't like steak or pasta. The following day, Claudia goes to the pension office to receive the monthly check, but the officer tells her to wait for a month because she's on a waiting list. However, the officer offers to speed up the process if she agrees to pay him off. This infuriates Claudia, and she berates him for being a corrupt person. Suddenly, the armor of a warrior behind Claudia starts to move, and he is revealed to be Simone, who is on another undercover operation. After catching the corrupt officer red-handed, Simone arrests him and whisks him away. Claudia rushes after them with some paper, asking the officer for his signature so she can receive the pension. This is when Simone finally notices Claudia's beauty, and he is instantly smitten. However, he quickly snaps out of it and tells her that the officer can't sign the papers. This leads to an argument, and as they go back and forth, Claudia unintentionally pushes him down the stairs, injuring him badly. Later, a remorseful Claudia visits Simone in the hospital to apologize. She first introduces herself, and then explains the immense financial pressure she is under, thanks to the delayed payments. At this point, Simone has developed a full-blown crush on Claudia, so he agrees not to pursue a case against her. Meanwhile, his juniors watch him talk with the beautiful girl and instantly deduce that he likes her. It is then revealed that Simone got divorced some months ago, and to cope with the pain, he's become a workaholic. He also forces his juniors to work longer hours, frustrating their lives. Therefore, Simone's juniors plan to set him up with Claudia and make him a fun-loving, carefree person once again. They take him to a bar and try to send him to Claudia's home under the pretense of investigating her grandmother's pension case. That's what I call it, too. However, Simone quickly figures out their intentions and warns them against playing games with him. Refusing to give up, the juniors then get him drunk and make him open up. Simone finally reveals that he stays away from women because he has lost the confidence to speak with them after getting left by his ex-wife. But after a lot of convincing, Simone finally agrees to pay Claudia a visit. The following day, when he arrives at the door, Claudia is taken aback to see him. She quickly covers the freezer before letting him in. Both of them are nervous to see each other, and when she inquires about the reason for his visit, Simone panics and tells her that he came to meet her grandmother in regards to the pension case. Hearing this, Claudia becomes certain that the cops are onto her. But fortunately, she manages to send Simone away by lying that her grandmother has gone to her village. Claudia then tells her friends about Simone's visit, and together, they decide to drop their plan and give Bridget a funeral to avoid jail time. However, they are forced to wait as it will take the dead body 15 hours to completely thaw before they can take her to a doctor and register her death. As they wait, Claudia gets a call from someone named Augusto, who asks her about the grandmother. This frightens her even more, so she tells him that she's busy and hangs up the call. Meanwhile, Simone's juniors inquire about his visit to Claudia's home, and he admits that he couldn't ask her out. They then advise him to try again by imagining Claudia as a criminal. This is because Simone always gets motivated when he is on duty. You know what I'm saying? Later, he takes their advice and pays Claudia another visit, catching the girls totally off guard. Rosanna and Margie scramble to hide the body while Claudia answers the door. She tries to shoo him away by making several excuses, but the officer is adamant on coming in. Left with no choice, Claudia allows him inside and nervously looks back. To her relief, Rosanna and Margie have already taken care of the deceased woman by applying makeup to her face. She is now sitting on the table looking completely alive and well. Simone greets Bridget cheerfully, but before he can get a reply, Claudia quickly takes him to another room. There, he finally admits that he has liked her ever since their first meeting. In the heat of the moment, he also asks her out, but quickly regrets it, wondering if he has overstepped his boundaries. To his astonishment, Claudia says yes, not because she likes him, but because she wants him out of the house. However, the date does not go as planned because Simone bores the hell out of Claudia with his work-related stories. Later, she calls her friends for an update, and they tell her that they put the body back in the freezer because something came up and they had to leave the house. After the date, Simone walks her back home and prepares to leave, when suddenly, a dog starts chasing them. As a result, he again enters the house. The power is out, so Claudia tells him to wait by the door as she goes to get a candle. When she returns, she notices him inspecting the refrigerator to check if food has been spoiled. To distract him, she frantically starts kissing him and then takes him to her bedroom. This is the first time thinking about your grandparents has ever made someone more horny. When things start to heat up, Claudia backs down, saying that they should take things slow. Simone, being a gentleman, agrees and returns home. However, he incessantly messages her and Claudia feels stuck. Therefore, she devises a plan to get rid of him. That evening, she goes on a date clad in a revealing dress and a lot of makeup. She acts obnoxious and deliberately picks fights with other guests. As a result, one of the guests punches Simone in the face. The latter is puzzled by her behavior, and he finally ends the date when she grabs his crotch and asks him to show the junk. The following day, Augusto, the caller, arrives at Claudia's home. He reveals that he is Bridget's old friend and demands to meet her. Claudia tries to make excuses to get rid of him, but he tells her that he has been camping in the neighborhood for 3 days, but he didn't see Bridget even once. He then warns her that if he doesn't see Bridget by tomorrow, he will call the police. Afraid of getting exposed, Claudia and her friends come up with a plan. The following day, when Augusto shows up at the door, Claudia disguises herself as Bridget and speaks to him. Fortunately, he doesn't recognize her, and it's revealed that Bridget and Augusto used to date in the past. Augusto says that his wife has passed away, and he wants to get together with her. However, Claudia tells him that she has found someone else and sends him away. After getting rid of him, she finally breathes a sigh of relief, but the doorbell again rings. To her dismay, it is Simone. She nervously tells him that Claudia is at work, but the cop wants to speak with Bridget instead. Left with no choice, Claudia lets him in and Simone expresses his feelings for her. He says he's aware that Claudia deliberately put on the schizophrenic avatar to scare him away, but he is not going anywhere because he really loves her. Hearing all this, Claudia is moved, so she asks him to wait for a while. She then rushes to the garage to remove her makeup. After returning back to her real self, she walks up to Simone and kisses him passionately. The two then make love and decide to go on a vacation. Simone's juniors are elated and they throw a party to celebrate. Meanwhile, during the vacation, Claudia and Simone get to know each other, and it is revealed that Simone's marriage broke down because he caught his ex-wife committing tax fraud. The amount wasn't even that big, just 3,000 euros. Simone then warns Claudia to never compel him to choose between her and his duty because he will always pick the latter. What a friggin' dork. A month later, Claudia returns from vacation and reveals to her friends that she's pregnant. She also expresses her fear that Simone will break up with her if he finds out about Bridget's body. Therefore, they all agree to bury Bridget's body as soon as possible. In the next scene, as Simone is on another undercover mission, Claudia and her girls load Bridget's body into the van and prepare to take her to the cemetery. However, on their way there, they are pulled over by Simone's juniors on grounds of speeding. They don't recognize Claudia and demand to see the back of the van. When the girls refuse to comply, Simone is called to the scene. It turns out that he and his team are currently looking for a gangster. Claudia tries to emotionally blackmail Simone, but it doesn't work and he slowly opens up the door. Surprisingly, the body is nowhere to be found. It is then revealed that somewhere along the route, a speed breaker yanked the door open and the dead body in the wheelchair rolled out of the van. Coincidentally, Augusto, who happened to be around, noticed Bridget and started following her. Meanwhile, Margie accidentally slips out that there was an old woman in the back of the van, forcing Claudia to make up a story that they were actually transporting a statue. Unfortunately, Simone accuses them of stealing the statue from the museum. He then arrests the girls, but instead of taking them to the police station, he takes them to an isolated location. There, Simone reveals that he had always suspected Claudia of hiding her grandma in the freezer. He is now in a deep dilemma as he has to choose between his love and his duty.
What a dork!
However, after much consideration, he decides that he does not want his baby to be born in prison, so he agrees to overlook the crime. He breaks up with Claudia, but when he learns that the body has gone missing, he is forced to help. Simone and the girls then split up and start looking for the body. Meanwhile, after rolling through town, Bridget's body comes to a stop in a forest. Augusto also arrives, but when he learns that the love of his life is dead, he suffers a heart attack and passes away. After a while, Margie and Rosanna eventually arrive at the location and find the body. They first decide to take care of Augusto's body, but when they return, Bridget is once again gone. Panicked, they rush to Claudia's home and inform her of everything. Just when it appears that the girls are going to jail, they spot the body right next to the gate. However, suddenly, some officers arrive there and suspect that the person in the wheelchair is the gangster they are looking for. The girls again panic, but to their relief, the person is revealed to be a statue. After the police leave, Claudia goes back inside her house, and there she finds Bridget laying in her bed. Simone also arrives, and it is revealed that he found the body in the woods and covertly brought it home without telling his juniors. Realizing that he risked his career to save her from the authorities, Claudia hugs him affectionately, and the two reconcile. Claudia then promises to call a doctor and bury her grandmother, but Simone tells her that the body must be preserved in methanol for 2 days to throw off the doctor about the actual time of death. It's creepy that he knows that. In the final scene, Claudia and the group attend Augusto's funeral and pay their respects. Later, they discuss Claudia's debt and her baby on the way. Simone realizes that his salary won't be enough to keep the family afloat. Hence, he too agrees to make a compromise. The movie ends as Claudia, Simone, Margie, and Rosanna decide to freeze the granny for a few more years.